Before the invasions, India was the richest civilization on Earth, holding 1/3 of the entire world's wealth. Its temples were vaults of gold. Its universities held millions of manuscripts, and the world knew it.
While Europe was still in its dark ages, India was calculating the circumference of the Earth. Aryabhata proposed that the Earth rotates on its own axis, 1,000 years before Galileo faced trial for saying the same thing. At Takshashila, the world's first university, operating since 700 BCE, students from across the known world came to study 68 different subjects. This was the civilization that was about to be targeted, not for its weakness, but for its extraordinary wealth and knowledge.
Nalanda University, the world's greatest center of knowledge. 10,000 students, 9 million manuscripts, subjects ranging from mathematics to medicine to philosophy. It had stood for 700 years. It would not stand much longer.
The Somnath Temple, the most sacred and richest temple in India, its annual revenue exceeded 10,000 villages combined. Arab mourners who visited called its treasury simply incalculable. Word of its wealth had already reached Afghanistan.
In 711 AD, Umayyad governor Hajjaj bin Yusuf appointed his 17-year-old nephew Muhammad bin Qasim to invade India. His written orders were explicit: kill every man who resists, enslave the women and children, send 1/5 of everything back to the Caliph in Damascus. This was official state policy.
The invasion force, 6,000 Severia cavalry, 6,000 camel troops, and the most powerful siege catapult of the Araj, landed on the shores of Sindh. It was the first armed Islamic force to set foot on Indian soil. India had no idea what was coming.
The port city of Dabal was the first target. Citizens were given 3 days to convert to Islam. Those who refused were killed on the spot. Women and children were enslaved. The ancient Buddhist temple, standing for centuries, was demolished in a single day. A mosque was built on its ruins before the bodies were cleared.
Raja Dahir, the king of Sindh, met the Arab army at the Battle of Aral on June 20th, 7112 AD. He fought from his war elephant until Arab-Greek fire set the river ablaze. His elephant panicked. He fell. He was killed in the water fighting to the last. The last Hindu king of Sindh died that day.
After the battle, Raja Dahir's head was cut off and sent to Iraq as a trophy. His treasury was seized, and 60,000 of his people, men, women, children, priests, were bound in iron chains and marched westward. India's first enslaved population under Islamic conquest. They were never coming back.
Within 3 years, Muhammad bin Qasim had conquered the entire Sindh region, a territory the size of modern Pakistan. In every captured city, the pattern was identical. Temples, mosques built on the ruins, non-Muslims forced to pay a special tax called the jizya, or face the sword. India had its first permanent Islamic territory. 300 years after the first invasion, a new threat emerged from Afghanistan. Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni had heard about India's temple wealth. His spies confirmed it. In 10,001 AD, he launched the first of what would become 17 raids into India, not to rule it, but to systematically drain it of every ounce of gold it possessed.
At the Battle of Peshpargar in 10,001 AD, Mahmud crushed the Hindu Shah dynasty that had protected India's northwestern frontier for 150 years. King Jayapala was captured and paraded through his own kingdom in chains. Unable to survive the humiliation, he walked into a funeral pyre, alive. The frontier of India was now open.
In 1018 AD, Mahmud reached Mathura, the sacred city of 1,000 temples. 53,000 people were killed or enslaved in this single campaign.
January 1025 AD, Mahmud arrived at Somnath with 30,000 cavalry. 50,000 Hindus were inside, pilgrims, priests, and soldiers who had come to defend the holiest temple in India. The battle raged for an entire day inside the temple complex. By evening, 50,000 defenders were dead. Mahmud's own historians wrote that the sea turned red with blood.
The priests offered Mahmud a fortune in gold to spare the sacred idol. He took the gold, then destroyed the idol anyway. He said, "I will be remembered as the idol breaker, not the idol seller." The broken fragments of the Shivalak were sent to Gazad, embedded in the steps of his mosque, so every worshipper would walk on the broken body of India's god. From Somnath alone, 2 million gold dinars in cash and 12 shinamas in centavans were loaded onto thousands of enslaved survivors. Its Mahmud used it an entire city. Its mosques, palaces, and libraries were constructed with wealth taken from Indian temples. Of hundreds of Indians and sold into slavery by Mahmud alone. Muhammad of Ghor was different from Mahmud. He did not come to raid and leave. He came to stay, spending 15 years methodically building garrisons and supply lines across northwest India, replacing local rulers, implementing Islamic governance, city by city, year by year. He was building the foundation of the first permanent Islamic empire in India. In 1191 AD, Pralast, great Hindu emperor of Delhi, assembled the greatest Rajput army in history, 200,000 cavalry, 3,000 Muhammad of Ghor completely at the First Battle of Tarain. He captured Muhammad personally, and then an act of Rajput honor, he let him go free. It was the most consequential mistake in Indian history. 1 year later, Muhammad of Ghor returned, 100,000 cavalry, a new tack. He attacked before dawn in total darkness, but the Qawats could form their line. 4 flanking divisions hit from all sides at once. The greatest Rajput army in history shattered within hours. With his death, 600 years captures of Hindu sovereignty over northern India ended in a single morning. In 1193 AD, Bactaria Hilgi, Muhammad of Ghor's general, reached Nalanda University and ordered it burned to the ground. 9 million manuscripts turned to ash. 800 years of accumulated human knowledge, gone.
In Delhi, Ab demolished 27 Hindu and Jaina temples and used their carved columns, goddess faces, Sanskrit prayers, sacred figures still intact, as building material built for a mosque on the same site. The complex's own and was bones of demolished temples, built of Tertian vision inscription at every reads. Almost none knows what they are standing on. By 1206 AD, a new empire had been established over northern India, the first of its kind to permanently rule the subcontinent. Its founder had risen from the lowest possible the land, were now required to pay a special annual tax, up to 48 silver bins per person. Citizens 30 years to continue their ancestral find the joys had accomplished. Permanent rule over the ancient land of India.
Historian K.S. Land calculated that between 1000 and 1500 AD, India's population fell from 200 million to 170 million people. 30 million lives lost in 5 centuries of invasion, war, famine, and enslavement. Some historians estimate 80 million. For comparison, the Black Death killed 30% of Europe. This was India's Black Death. Almost no history textbook gives it that name.
He was one of the most celebrated artists of his era, whose work is still taught and performed across South Asia today. But in his own Germanu hand, he documented a military campaign in western India in 1298 AD in which over 20,000 civilians who wrote about it not military. Same man, same ink. 2 very different stories.
This is not just written history. The archaeology confirms it. At Nalanda, excavations from 2006 onwards found ash layers from a single sustained fire event, and skeletal remains of runks killed inside their cells. At Banbur near Karachi, the destroyed Buddhist temple of Dabal was found buried beneath a mosque foundation. The ground itself holds the evidence that the textbooks left out. Between 1193 and 1203 AD, in just 10 years, 4 of India's greatest Buddhist monasteries were destroyed: Nalanda, Vikramashila, Odantapuri, and Somapura. All burned.
Look at a map of South Asia today. The regions most intensively invaded, Sindh, Punjab, Bengal, Kashmir, have the highest Muslim populations. The regions the medieval armies never fully reached, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, remain overwhelmingly Hindu. The Qutb Minar still stands. Built from demolished temples, the Ram Mandir now stands in Ayodhya. Built on a site of 800 years of dispute, the 1947 partition, Kashmir, the Babri Masjid, the Ram Mandir. None of these are new conflicts. They are the same conflict, 1,300 years old, still unresolved. Everything happening in India today has its roots in what you just watched. The invasion that began in 711 AD never fully ended, it just changed form. Now, you know,